I, Onesmus, Muia, solemnly swear that the information I'm going to give before this committee is the truth, nothing but the whole truth. So help me God.
Okay. Thank you, Onesmus, and welcome. I'd like now to take this opportunity to ask members to self-introduce themselves after I have done that, after which also I'll ask the clerk to introduce the staff inside here. My name is Ann Kiusia, the Speaker of the County Assembly of Machakos. I'm also the chair of this committee of appointments. Thank you.
I am Stephen Mwande, representing Ekalakala Ikatini Ward and Deputy Speaker, Machakos County Assembly.
My name is Peter Kilonzo, representing Great People of Mbiuni. I'm a member in this committee.
Jackson Daka, representing Tala Ward, Deputy Majority Leader.
Karibu sana. My name is Nicholas Nzioka, MCA for Machakos Central Ward and also Leader of the Majority. Thank you.
I am Francis Kitaka, representing Dalani Ward, a member of Appointment Committee.
I'm Winfred Mutua, representing the Special Elect. Welcome.
Karibu, Francis Wambua, Kaviu, Kinani Ward, Deputy Minority Leader. Thank you.
Karibu sana Onesmus, Mheshimiwa Kisila, MCA Mwala, member of this committee.
I'm Judas Bilindawa, MCA representing the great people of Matru and the leader of minority in this assembly of Machakos. Karibu sana bwana Onesmus.
I'm the Joseph Motisia, the clerk of the assembly, and with me is the deputy clerk legislative, Mr. Dennis. I have Mr. Modui in charge of legal. I have Mr. Musioka in charge of procedure. I have Dalmas Masila in charge of research. I have Paulo Kelly in charge of registry. I have Susan Keluva, clerk assistant. Alison Molonzi, clerk assistant. Then I have Lewis Moki, also a researcher. Then I have the sergeant at arms. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You have forgotten one staff, eh? Dominic Masioka.
I have introduced.
Thank you, clerk, for that introduction. Onesmus Muia, please welcome to this place. Relax, sip some water, feel welcome. It is not an interview. It's a vetting, okay? Yeah, so I'll be the first to ask you the first question. Briefly, tell us about yourself and share with this committee your educational background and how relevant it is for the department to which you've been nominated.
Thank you, Chair. I'm a Kenyan citizen, aged 45 years. I come from a village in Kiva called Mudemba, a remote village up country. I've been born and brought up in Machakos, that is within Machakos County. I went to school, Kidioko Primary, because I also come from a very humble background. My father is a retired teacher. I went to Machakos High School. I excelled in my studies, and then I secured a place at Egerton University, where I did applied economics. I'm married, 2 kids, 1 wife. My firstborn is in Form 1, Kabarak. My secondborn and the lastborn, for now, she's in grade 2. I'm a career banker of 17 years standing. Started immediately after university. That was in 2004. From the entry level, finance assistant in finance department. I rose through the ranks from finance assistant to credit to operations officer to credit documentation manager to customer service and operations manager in charge of asset finance in then one of the biggest banks, handling the biggest portfolio in the country then. That was at NIC. I moved to housing finance to go and start the commercial banking arm as an assistant general manager. Worked for 2 years. I was forged. I went to another bank, Victoria then. I went there as the general manager, asset finance and leasing. I worked as head of corporate till at some point I took up the position of acting managing director. And then at some point, exited, I went to start my own business. I realized I was relying on one side of my career, economics. So I wanted also to try the other side of agriculture and bring back to the community. And I had a successful business. I think I'm one of the biggest farmers. I'm the one who started commercial farming for onions and tomatoes in Machakos County. And I think after COVID, I was the one who was supporting almost the entire Machakos on that front. On the why my education is relevant to the position I'm taking, I basically can say I've started scarcity. The problem of scarcity in the resource allocation among competing choices for institutions, for government, and for individuals. Apart from the experience, I also have a wide knowledge in accounting, statistics, participatory rural appraisal, which I earned at Egerton as an additional course, enterprise management, and strategic management, not to mention the experience that I've gained across my work.
Thank you very much. Now I call upon the next member to put across their question.
Yes. Onesmus, karibu sana. Kindly describe the portfolio that falls under your department, which you've been nominated to.
Through the chair, I've been nominated for the Ministry of Finance, Revenue Management, and Economic Planning. The portfolio houses 4 chief officers. There's the chief officer for economic planning. That's a department by itself with an accounting officer. There's a department of financial services. There's also the department for revenue management, and ICT has also been brought on board because it's an enabler. If I go back to each of the department and I give you a high-level portfolio, for the economic planning, basically this is a department that deals with the formulation of economic policies. It is a department that collects and collaborates data. It is a department that is supposed to spearhead and lead the citizen engagement when it comes to public participation. It is the department that is supposed to advise the executive and the county assembly when it comes to the matters of economic policies. It is also the department that works hand in hand with financial services to manage the budget. The Department of Financial Services, this is basically the county treasury. This is the department that deals with the management, day-to-day management of the budget, implementation of the budget. It is the department that links the county to the national treasury. It is also the department that is supposed to account for the financial services of the county. It is also the department that is supposed to take charge of the assets and inventory of the county. It's also the department that is supposed to interpret and ensure all the county entities adhere to the Public Finance Management Act. The Department of Revenue Collection. The Department of the Revenue Collection oversees the execution and implementation of the Finance Act. This is the department that is responsible for the collection of own revenue. It is the department that is in liaison with other departments supposed to review and revise the finance bill when the need arises. It is the department that is supposed to put in control the environment for the collection of county revenues. The department of, there's also within the finance services, there's a department of procurement. This is a department that's supposed to ensure the county and the county entities adhere to public procurement law. It's also supposed to prepare procurement plans in liaison with the other departments. And lastly, the new unit for ICT, which has been brought on board, and I think it is being brought on board because the single most consumer of ICT services is finance and revenue. It is supposed to oversee the strategic implementation of e-government. It is also supposed to implement revenue collection systems. It's also supposed to enable the communication between the ministries and also to drive the technological strategic agenda of the county. So those are basically the 4 departments that fall within the portfolio are being nominated for.
Very, very well answered. Thank you very much. And all the best.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. Could you have the next member putting across the question?
Thank you very much. You've spoken of revenue collection, and it is very well documented over the years that the county has not been able to meet its own source targets, the annual targets. What could be the reasons?
Through the chair, I concur with the honorable member. I also, having come from Machakos, I've had interest in looking at the statistics. And I've seen 10 years down the line, we are still collecting the amount that was being collected when Machakos was a municipal. I've looked at the factors surrounding this, and I'm convinced that the issues surrounding revenue collection have to do with automation. Because if you don't automate the revenue collection environment, you are creating loopholes and leakages. On the revenue collection, again, we could be having instances where there is consumption at the source. The Public Finance Management Act does not envisage consumption at the source. Even if you are ring-fencing the revenue, it's supposed to go to CRF, then brought back to the generating entity. The other issue that I've seen, and I think would be contributing to this, is data collection. We need to have a clear hit list, the potential customers for each revenue stream. We have structures going all the way to the village level. The county has the ability to generate a list of all the businesses so that we are able to give clear targets per sub-county. Without that, anything else is a guesswork. Number 4, I'm being a member of Machakos County, I've seen there are numerous pay bills. Automation is not about multiplicity of pay bills. It is about the control environment and proper automation. I've checked at the valuation role. It was done during the colonial times. So whatever we are collecting is below par. So even as we are saying we have not hit our target, I don't know whether we really know what is our target without all those factors.
Thank you very much. I feel that you have also answered the question of what you may want to do, so we proceed. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Kindly, could we have the next member?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Bwana Onesmus, karibu. We have heard so many complaints from traders and also from members of public on harassment by inspectorate officers. Sometimes they are seen collecting monies and walking alone, while else they are supposed to accompany the revenue officers. What is your opinion about that? And if appointed, how are you going to address this problem?
Through the chair, the honorable member, the answer is very simple. Just get away the evil, the money, the cash. We need to go to the automation environment so that there is no cash to gamble about. Number two, we need to have a clear demarcation of duties between enforcement and the revenue collectors and the reporting channels.
Thank you very much. Well answered.
Thank you very much. Do you have the next member, please?
Thank you and welcome, Onesmus. Back to the issue of revenue collection. During the second assembly, Committee on Finance realized that the county government earned a total of 228 M-Pesa pay bill numbers, whereby 134 were active, 94 were not active. If nominated, what are you planning to do with that? Because there was a lot of discrepancies that it caused, the numerous numbers caused loss of revenue.
Through the chair, thank you, honorable member. I've just talked about the difference between automation and the multiplicity of pay bills. When we are talking about 211 pay bills, chasing 31 revenue streams, that is already a red flag by itself. And being an expert in systems, I'm coming from an environment of automation. There must be a clear-cut demarcation in lines between developer of a system and the production environment. So one of the things that if I'm given this chance I need to do is to check whether that demarcation is in place. Two, whether the environment, the server environment is secured. Then number three, close all those pay bills and generate a new pay bill with a USSD code directly linked to Safaricom.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think I'm well answered.
Well answered, too. Thank you. Excellent. Okay. I call upon the next member to put across the question.
Karibu Bwana Ones. I think it's like you've answered my question. You are really articulating very well on whatever you are being asked. My question was, what would be your approach in automating revenue collection? What would be your approach? But I think the question is already answered. If you have more answer, you can still give. But thank you.
Through the chair, being a member of Machakos County, I've watched keenly. There's intense interest in some revenue lines, like quarries and all that, and probably we're just scratching the surface. The big chunk of the revenue will come from single business permit, building approvals and all that. So over and above what I've said, we need to have a workflow with a proper document management system and a proper scoring tool so that there is nobody who can deviate from the matrix.
Thank you very much. Next member.
Morning, Mr. Onesmus. I would want to know from the previous regimes, there has been delays in disbursement of county funds that are meant for the county assembly. What will you, if nominated, what are measures that you'll put in place to ensure that these delays are not there? And on the same note, what is the process? Can you guide us the process of requisiting that money from the CRF?
Through the chair, thank you, honorable member. Probably I start with the process, because when we start, we understand the process, we'll be able now to agree on the other one. Now, the process is very simple. It starts from the normal procurement through the FMEs. Once at the tail end of the FMEs requisition, a requisition is done to the control of budgets. It is accompanied by FOME, done by CECM Finance to the control of budgets. The control of budgets, if he or she has sends a notification through Form B, which signifies approval. When the Form B is received, the county treasury through CECM Finance would request, would do a letter to the Director Banking Services and attach a copy of Form B, requesting for the funds to be availed to either recurrent account held at CBK or the development account. And if that happens, the funds are accredited. Then the fourth stage is just a normal banking operations, where the designated and mandate holders of the county financial services would log in to to internet banking, token 1, token 2, then direct monies to the user. So that is the process. I'm deeply concerned that there has been occasions of delays from the previous regime, because this is not supposed to happen. County assembly funds are tied to equitable share. They have nothing to do with own revenue. So what should happen is there should be a good working relationship between the accounting officer, the clerk, the Director General of Finance, who should be able to sit with the CECM Finance and agree on a workable cash flow formula. But so long as the equitable share is coming, money should be released on the spot. I don't envisage any problem if you give me a chance. That should get out of your to-do list.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I wish you the best.
Thank you very much. I think that was really a nice one. Okay.
Morning.
Next member.
Morning, Onesmus. As per the second county assembly, finance and revenue committee, they exempted the Simba Cement company from paying the cess from the raw material which they carry from the Lukenya quarries to their production site for a period of 10 years through a resolution which was meant by the year 2017 by a cabinet of that regime. And this was not the case in Kajiado. What is your opinion on that? And if appointed, how are you going to address this issue?
Through the chair, thank you, honorable member. Before I form my own opinion, I think it is good to encourage growth of businesses, but it's also good to play within the law. I don't think the executive, the powers to waive rests with the county assembly, and that's why whenever there is waiver of rates and all that, the request has to come to the county assembly so that they can waive. I'm not, because I'm not yet in, I'm not aware of that incident, but if it happened, and if I'm given a chance, I'll first of all go through the report, and if the proper process was not followed, then the right action has to be taken. Because here we are also talking about not meeting our own revenue targets. That would be one of the problems.
Thank you. Next member.
Good morning, Onesmus. For the last 10 years since the inception of devolution, the county of Machakos has had 2 CIDP developed, that is 2013 to 2017, and the most recent was 2018 to 2022. And to date, no report has ever been presented to the county assembly to enable them perform their oversight role on the status of the projects that were initiated during that period. As a nominee for this particular docket, what are you going to do to ensure that you assist the assembly of Machakos to perform their oversight role and providing the reports on timely basis to enable them perform that? Thank you.
Thank you, through the chair. Thank you, honorable member. CIDP is a 5-year plan, and having looked at the process and also being a participatory rural appraisal expert, I know the first year when the CDP is generated, the ranking priorities are done. There is a danger that the second, third, and fourth year that the balance of the priorities could disappear because of changes in the economic environment and the way things are done. Because again, second year, third year, fourth year, you go back to the same citizens and they'll give you other priorities. Probably the priority then was not a priority. But in the preparation of the CIDP itself, there is a whole chapter 3 where the previous CIDP is supposed to be brought on board. And then we are supposed to go see what was set and what has been achieved. I've looked at the one for Machakos, which is in the website. The 462 pages. Well, it is bringing out what has been done, but it is leaving out what has not been done. So in the next CIDP, which if I'm given a chance, I'll engineer, we'll attach an annex of what has not been done for the benefit of county assembly. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Next member.
Yes, good morning. Yes, Mr. Kuyu, what is the county budget of 2022-2023?
Through the chair, thank you, honorable member. The budget estimate for 2022-23 is 11.6 billion.
Thank you. And how much is expected from exchequer and foreign and or domestic grants?
Exchequer 9.6 billion. From revenue is 1.7 billion. The concessional grant is 610 million.
How much is expected from our own county source revenue?
That is a 1.7 billion.
Are you a working financial institution? These things. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best.
Madam Speaker.
Through the chair.
Madam Speaker, through you, I just want one question. There's a red flag on our pending bills. 2 billion. And it's a serious issue we are facing. If you get to this position, how will you handle that pending bill issue?
Thank you, through the chair. Thank you, honorable member. I think the issue of the pending bills, it's a national menace across all the 47 counties, but Machakos is seems to be leading the pack. Two approaches. The first approach is, I know the governor has set up a task force to review the pending bills. So once there is, the report comes out, we'll implement the recommendation of the task force and agree on the next possible steps, repayment plans and all that. Two, going forward, so that we don't have a repeat of the same, we'll have our revenue collection. We'll also, if given a chance, we'll also embark on cost containment measures. Like I've seen yesterday something which came up about possible ghost workers. I've also talked about issues of expenditure at the source. Those are things we can tap, because those are the things that crowd out development funds. And also probably align procurement to cash flows.
My last question is, you've been an economic advisor to Her Excellency the Governor. In the last few months she's been in office. What do you think has been your biggest success in the last 2 to 3 months?
Through the chair, thank you, honorable member. Economic advisors have limited access to confidential information, but the last 1 month that we've been advising the governor, the first advice was to set up those task forces. The one for the pending bills, and on top of that, we are in agreement that we need to set up a technical team to be part of the task force, because some of the projects some of the items affected in the pending bills are of project nature. They need experts, QSs and all that, to evaluate the tangibility on the ground. I've also advised her on closing the pay bills, and they were closed. And we've also advised her on the other task forces, including the human resource aspect, where probably she needs to deal with the ghost workers if they are there.
Thank you very much.
The issue of multiple licenses in one business. For example, for those people who are doing on hospitality industry, you will pay a liquor license, you will pay a single business license, you will pay for health certificate, you will pay for music copyright, and yet it's a single entity. What do you think is solution? Because traders are hurting.
Thank you, honorable member, through the chair. I'm here to go through the Finance Act, the tariffs and all that, but from my economic experience, it is better to have to work on the numbers, the numerous. We better attract the numerous traders by giving them a single business permit, as opposed to the multiples, and they disappear. Because one of the probable challenges is tax avoidance. So if I'm given the chance, I'm gonna review the finance bill, bring it to the assembly. We see how we can entice the people on the lower at the lower of the pyramid, because those are the masses who will give us numbers.
Thank you very much. I have a question for you as well. Are you conversant with Chapter 6 of the Constitution of Kenya?
Yes, Chair.
What is it all about?
It talks about integrity and general leadership principles and values.
Is there any matter that you can share with us that maybe touches on your integrity?
The beauty of the Act is it has mandated certain institutions to execute that, and personally, I've been cleared by all the institutions, and I have certificates from the institution I've ever worked at.
Those institutions may fail to capture some integrity issues that you may be having. Do you have something that perhaps you know is within your knowledge?
Chair, the last time I went near police station was to get an abstract.
Thank you very much for that answer. We have now come to the end of the vetting, but before I release you, I would ask if you have any comment for us, maybe.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, honorable members. I take this opportunity to thank the appointment committee and the secretariat team for giving me this opportunity. If I'm given a chance, the issues that are coming up, they'll be the thing of the past. I'm a professional. I'm coming from a point of an environment of controls and integrity. So I think if I'm given the chance, Machakos will be a model county.
Thank you very much. We may now release you, but before you leave, you make sure you get your original certificates.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Sorry, you other guests, you walked in with them. Perhaps could we know who this guest of ours is?
Chair, it's my doctor, just in case my pressure goes up.
Were you apprehensive that you may fall sick? Oh, no.
Not really, Chair, but it's a prudent concept.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, members.